Warning: the Atari Creep YouTube channel is intended for a mature audience. Regardless of the subject matter, this video may contain strong language, simulated violence, and lots of psychological nudity. Viewer discretion is advised. Alright, so before we get going, I fucked up with the microphones. I had this one on as well as the internal one. I made that mistake, but it was such a good take in my opinion, I'm not going to change it. So unfortunately this entire video is very echoey. So if that's the kind of thing that you can't really stand, I know it would drive me nuts. Yeah, go ahead and just click off, but I'm not fixing it. I'm not doing that again. I really enjoy that take, so sorry guys. What's up, creepers? And here's Christy Atari Creep. How's everyone doing today? We're almost there. We're halfway to the goal, and then we'll be back to Monday. But you know, when you talk about a conversation with people, something that's severely lacking these days is the idea that conversations are supposed to bring growth, some kind of knowledge. You know, too many people these days, including myself sometimes, debate to win. You know what I mean? And if you're going into a conversation with that in mind, then nothing can be had of the conversation. So that's why I was pretty excited that this Joey Ford cat and I were rapping back and forth. It was a conversation. It was, oh, well, I think this. Okay, well, you know, I think this. You know, and this, that, and the other thing. And here's an actual fact. And it was going well. And actually, I wanted to praise him. Now, I'm not going to sit here and I'm going to say a few things like I don't understand how people can be as ignorant. And I don't necessarily, Joey, mean that directly towards you. Yes, you are the subject of this conversation. But I don't. Please understand. I'm not legit saying he was dumb. I just don't understand how something as simple as this can. And maybe people just want to. I don't know. I can't. I have no understanding of anything. So, unfortunately, Joey, you are this week's Chowderhead spotlight. Okay. So we're looking at my video talking about the physical products that Amico just announced and that they're selling. And we'll start the conversation right here, where I feel that this conversation started. And Joey goes on to say the problem is that once the online service for Amico is disconnected, you never owned the console. The console and the physical games are just going to be useless junk. And I'll be perfectly honest with you, this is one of my biggest fears, not just with the Amico, but with gaming in general. I mean, media is changing. We are changing with the technology, and unfortunately, the idea of having something physical and using that as your source of whatever product that you're trying to consume is slowly dying. I mean, it's already, we have cloud services and we have all kinds of other downloadable things. I honestly believe as it pertains to gaming that this generation of gaming, if it ever fucking gets going, will be the last physical media gaming experiences. I honestly believe, and a lot of other smarter people than me believe that that is the case. You have consoles that are out now, like the PlayStation and the Xbox, that have that option already. You can have a digital only, or you can have a disc to put on your machine and play your game. And it's very important to say that because that's where we're going here. It's an option. So if you bought the one that doesn't take discs, you have chosen a downloadable only content style machine. So he says here, physical games. Let's start there. We'll come back to what I was just talking about, okay? There was a switch in wording when it came to Amico's physical media, okay? They've changed their wording. Words are important. You guys all make fun of me for that. They've changed it to physical game product, okay? These are not meant to be games at all. They're not meant to be games. They're meant to be just something fun for people to collect that's related to the console. We're going to go through this entire conversation. We're going to go through the entire conversation so you understand the context where I'm coming from. But I think right there, that highlighted those two words, is where we're not seeing eye to eye yet. It's not a physical game. It never was. It was never going to be. No one has ever said that you're going to be able to put this into a machine and play the game or download the game from the physical thing itself. It was always going to be some kind of a thing that triggered something in the system that would allow the game to download onto the machine. It was just another way to purchase the game for those who want to have something in their hands. This system is 100% and has always been 100% online only. And anyone buying this system walks into it understanding that risk that the system could fail, or someday down the line it is going to not be a thing anymore, regardless of however long it does or does not take. There will come a time where the servers have to go down, the system's not on the shelves, and there is no more support for it. That is just the reality of the world. It's kind of like when I went in corrections. You knew the job, you assumed the risks. And the reason I say this is because you have to sign something saying that you're okay with them not negotiating someone's freedom for your life. If you're held hostage and the inmate says, I'm going to kill this guy if you don't let me go, they're like, fuck, that sucks. It was nice knowing you, Chris. we'll pin more charges on him. But I understood that risk walking into it. So I went on to say, same with all media soon enough, Gaming is one leg in that pile already. Clouds and preservation hopefully will save the day. I probably should have said that, hopefully. And I honestly believe that. I believe that if the console is strong enough, and it should be, that there will be a way. There is always a way. And if we know that these things are going to be a digital-only kind of consumable media, then we need to, as the consumer, if we want it to have longevity, need to come up with our ways to extend that product's life. Okay? This is where we really get into it. You're acting like as if this is the norm and you're defending it. So at first I responded with, I'm not defending anything. I'm just telling you, what's up. I guess maybe I am defending it. I'm defending the idea of what it's supposed to be and trying to correct Joey. I don't know if you prefer Joey or Joe. It says Joey, so I may call you Joe a few times by mistake. So if that offends you, Mr. Ford, I apologize. And I'm not saying that sarcastically. I'm trying to be as nice as I can because I really was enjoying this conversation because it wasn't the norm. All right? So it says as if it was the norm, and it's not the norm. And what I have to say is, so what? So it's not the norm. Big deal. Okay, so also, look at the Switch. And this is another thing we need to stop doing. We need to stop comparing it to the fucking Switch because it's not a Switch. It's not trying to be a Switch. The only comparable thing between the two is their video game consoles. The Switch has family-friendly stuff, and the Amico is going for all family-friendly stuff. So, whatever. You can still play the games without needing to be connected to the internet, even though you insert the game in the cartridge and it's brand new and all this stuff, right? Okay, that's right. You can take a Switch cartridge and put it in your machine offline, and it would download the game. You knew that buying that cartridge. You know what? I had this ready for a different version of this video. This is a card for Triple Action. It's the only one I have that's close enough to any of the launch titles. Because Biplanes is on this one. I know this isn't going to hold the game itself. Again, going back to the idea that we know it's not the game itself. That's why they changed the name. They used a poor choice of words. Now, whether they did that strategically to get people interested, or they just fucked up, I don't know. I can't tell you what their corporate motivation is, all right? I can only just tell you that I knew from the beginning, I'm a dumb fuck. I knew from the beginning that this was not going to have a game on it. It never was, it never will, it never had been. It was always a scannable thing to tell the machine to look for the game wherever the fuck it is, and then you purchased it, and you can bring it in and have a good day. You remember the Sega Genesis Sonic thing? Came with a redeemable code. Same idea, you know? You got this free fucking monstrous statue of Sonic on a Genesis or something like that. I can't remember the exact thing. It's the same exact thing. So if you want to compare it to the Switch, there you go. So I went on to say, so what? It's nothing more. I'm not defending anything. I'm just saying my thoughts. As far as your Switch comparison, it's not even fair. The Switch cards hold the game data. We know it does that, and so I went on to talk about that. Amico is all digital all the time. Please keep that in mind. I said it straight up. I even put it in capitals, not because I'm yelling it, but because I wanted it to stand out. The physical product is just for anyone who wants to collect something. It's not necessary at all, but it's fun. All the games will be available otherwise. No one's forcing anyone to buy anything. So okay, maybe I am defending it now against a dumb comparison. So Joey goes on to say, here's the thing though, physical copies are not just to collect. They are also a way you can play the games. So this is where the conversation is starting to fall apart. I'm trying to establish that this is not a physical copy of the game. It's a physical product that you can buy that's related to the game that will trigger it in the right circumstances. But it's mainly for those fucking people that like to have shelf trophies, dust collectors, shelf queens. I don't know what the fuck they're called these days. Whatever the idiom is. It's not supposed to be the game itself. It's supposed to be something fun on the side. And it'll help them generate revenue too. This will actually help the console come out one way or the other. And that's not something Tommy's been bringing up, but it just makes sense that if they can get some kind of revenue in, it may help us get our consoles a little quicker. Capiche? I don't know. Let's see, you borrow your game, blah, blah, blah. Well, you know, as far as borrowing games and stuff like that, unfortunately that's not going to be the case unless you go over there with it. See, you get your controller, you tap it to their machine, and you can play the game. But once you leave, chances are the game's not going to be playable, but it may give you a discount to buy the damn thing or something like that. How cool would that be? I think that would be an excellent game, and I think, Tommy, you guys need to look at that. Because he's already said that you can bring your controller over to a friend's house. So, yeah, you can't really let your friends borrow the game, but this is a completely different kind of system now. So, we can't look at it with the eyes of the normal gamer experience, I suppose, especially now that technology is taking us in a completely different direction. So, again, I said, that's not the case. These are not physical games. And please keep saying that to yourself. They're not physical games. They're not games. That card inside that box is not a game. Why would anyone want that? That's up to the consumer to decide. That's not up to you to decide. You don't like it, and that's fine. That's the best part of free will. I happen to enjoy that kind of thing, so I'm going to purchase them Monday if there are any left over. I'm pretty sure we're good there, though. Physical items, I call them physical items related to the game. Now, whether that's a good, I don't know. But it's the best way I can come to describe it. Amico is all digital all the time. I said it again. There is no sharing aside from the transfer of ownership. Now, however long that's possible, buyer assumes the risk knowing that from the start. The sole source of the games are online. Again, this is just something fun as an option. And another way for the company to generate revenue. I think we're not seeing eye to eye because you're overthinking it, and I do believe that. I believe he's staying on the notion of how things work now. Did the Switch need to have a cartridge? No. Can you download games from the Switch? Yes. There are plenty of games that are online only that you will never be able to play again once that server goes down. Once that console is no longer being supported online. I ran into that with my Wii U. There was a couple of games I wanted to download. They didn't exist anymore. It is what it is. Actually, we've been preparing for this that long. Okay? Let's see. I think you're overthinking it, going back to your initial point. And what I mean by that is, of course, trying to compare it to something that exists now that this is not trying to be. I said, you're right, bro. It's not. So in that, nothing about it would be usual. So it's not usual. I'm sorry, that's what the initial point was, that this is not usual. How many times have we looked at the gaming history, though? And this is me actually trying to defend an idea like this. And what we're talking about are the games coming out before the console, and the fact that it's basically just a scan code to get the game to trigger into your system from the online store. But how many times have we talked about game history? Let's take Coleco's expansion module 1. That would never fucking happen again, but it happened at one point. It wasn't usual, but people didn't care. They bought the fucking thing. I mean, Atari tried to sue, they lost the suit, whatever. Just because it's unusual doesn't mean it's wrong. In fact, that's how innovation happens. And there are a number of people that aren't shills that actually think that this is a pretty clever idea. I went on to say it's not a Switch. It's not trying to be a Switch. It's doing its own thing. This is an excellent example of that. Yeah. He sends me a link to that guy from the movie saying, everything you just said was the dumbest thing I ever heard. We are all now stupider from having heard you say that. And that's when Joey turned into a Chowderhead, as you can see my response here. So because I had to read, I'm pretty sure I wasn't as coherent as I normally would be. But there you have it. Joe E. I mean no ill will. I really don't. I just don't understand how people can't grasp this simple concept that it's not trying to be the norm. The physical products are just something on the side. What are you trying to save us from? There's nothing to save us from. If I didn't want those physical products, I could just wait for the console to come out, and when the games are available, download them. Now that's another conversation altogether. People are like, well, are the games even available? Are they done yet? Maybe they're not. I don't know. I don't care either way. Until I get my Switch. My Switch. See, I started doing it until I get my Amico, and I tap the card and it doesn't download. Then we'll be making another video altogether, but that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about the idea of the intelligent card not being, we're going to do a video on these, I have a whole stack of them, not being a game. Never was going to be a game. It was just a poor choice of words in the beginning for whatever reason. And it's been corrected. Well, fucking what do you want? It's been fucking corrected. Move on. But it's just the way it's going to be. This is how he wants to do it, whether you think it's stupid or not. It's neither here nor there. That's how they feel like doing it. So that's all I want to say about it, guys. I hope I made some sense, and I hope that not necessarily that I changed anyone's mind, but again, the idea of a conversation shouldn't be about who's right and who's wrong. Who won? I'm the winner. I get the last word. It's about furthering the conversation. It's about growth. It's about knowledge. It's about an understanding whether you agree or not. The least we could all do is say, I just don't agree with that, but I understand where you're coming from. And I thought that's where we were going, Joey. Unfortunately, you had to put that fucking link there, and now you're pretty much just like every other fucking Chowderhead on here. Unless you redeem yourself. You seem like a good guy. I don't know. Guys, let me know what you think down below. Go and leave your feedback. Thumbs up, thumbs down. All feedback to the Creep's positive. Please remember some of the words I said here. Mainly about conversation and debate. Because I love debate. I love it. I love it. Love it. I hate fighting. I hate arguing. But sometimes I guess it's just fucking necessary. Guys, I hope you're doing well. I really do. Thank you always so much for watching. And until next time, take care. Creep it real. And there's a stupid little stop button. There it is. And bye-bye.